To the Bloomfield Township Board of Trustees meeting on Monday, March the 9th. If we'll all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, welcome everyone. First item is the public comment. If you're here to make a public comment on anything on the agenda tonight, you can come up to the podium, my right, your left, and introduce yourself, your address, and we ask you to keep your comments at 3 minutes. Go ahead.
Okay. It's Greg Kraus. I live at 1375 Aberdovey Place in Bloomfield Village, which is part of the yellow section for the roads. And first of all, I'd just like to start out by saying, complimenting you guys for considering tonight. I see that for the blue and for the pink sections, you all have are considering refunds for those sections in the special assessment districts, and I think it's really terrific. And hoping that that winds up the same result for us in the yellow section when all is said and done. And I don't know if what the timing of that accounting is, but it'd be great if it got done for 2026 for us as well. Tonight's agenda also includes an approval of about a $3 million payment for the yellow section. But before the township pays, some of these various invoices, and while we still have some leverage, I'm here and my neighbor Tim O'Hara is here to sort of share with you some real problems that we have with the quality of work the roads, and actually invite all or any of you just to come and, maybe take, a half an hour or an hour out of your day and just take a walk around, because there are some significant construction problems that either didn't show at the time of inspection, or, were just kind of overlooked in a rush to get things done before the winter. Let me just kind of go through some of those. For instance, we have asphalt that's cracking already. That's, from asphalt that was laid just in October and November. They put M drains, what were called M drains, at the end of intersections. The concrete is already, chipping away, and the asphalt around that is all cracked. We have on one of the streets, there's a Kubota machine that was working on one of the islands, spilled hydraulic fluid, and I know that they were contacted, that the appropriate people were contacted at the road commission, and whatever was done wasn't appropriate, because a whole section of the street is all stained. It looks like it's been almost acid washed. Driveways have cracks through them. There are parts of sidewalk areas that have cracks through them. I actually jokingly said we should just lift a piece of the sidewalk and bring it here so that you can see it. Tim's going to go into more about that. The work that was done for the openings, for the drain openings, Fort Wayne was hired, and I guess they were told to put 4-inch or 4-foot collars around any type of a sewer or manhole. They did that for the manholes, but couldn't center the manholes. And then for the little water main access, they put 4-foot rings around those. But really, it's more the quality of construction, where you've got just concrete breaking and asphalt cracking on what's supposed to be brand new roads in the last 40 years.
Okay, thank you, Craig. Appreciate your comments. Hi, Tim.
Hi, I'm Tim O'Hara. I also live on Aberdovey in the yellow section. One of the big issues that we have is they didn't backfill around a lot of the areas where they excavated. So you've got driveways that aren't backfilled on the sides. You've got front walks up to houses where it's not backfilled. You've got sidewalks that weren't backfilled in between the sidewalk and the street, and it's been that way since last November. And I know you all fill potholes when people complain about them, but this has been this way since October. And it's a liability, and nobody does anything about it. But I want to talk about a few other things. Catch basins, and I think everybody knows the main purpose of catch basins is to catch the water running down the curbs or gutters and get rid of it. But we've now got catch basins in driveway aprons, in the roadway, outside of the gutters. We've got them half in the curb, half in the street, half in the curb, half in aprons. And I'm not sure how that improves drainage, and it wasn't that way before the road commission rebuilt the roads. Greg talked about the collars. And we've got one catch basin at the end of our street that is probably 12 inches below the surface of Sandringham. If that's not a hazard, I don't know what is. The curbs, they slip form the concrete. We've got so many cracks in the curbs now that run from the front to the back. And this occurred a lot of them occurred within a couple of weeks of them being poured. And I met with Wayne Dabrowski, who is the RCOC person, and we walked around and looked at this. Some of the cracks they filled with epoxy after they had only been poured for 2 weeks. I said, Wayne, what's going on? He said, oh, that's okay, don't worry about that. Others where there were cracks, he said, no, that's fine, that's okay, don't worry about it. And I couldn't believe it. I said, Wayne, what's the specification for cracks in the curbs? He said, there isn't one. He said, we walk around with the contractor and we decide what we're gonna do. I said, so your specification is subjective? He said, yeah, I guess so. I can't believe that for these road experts. We've got curbs that have different profiles right across the street from one another. And as you know, Mike, the village wants everything to be harmonious. And it's not. Sidewalk accesses, we've got cracks in the sidewalk accesses. The snowplow went by with its blade, chipped off the top of the curb, went across the orange mat, all the nubs have been damaged. It's just incredible. But all these things that have to be fixed, I hope that we aren't charged for fixing these mistakes. I'd love to take you guys around and show you. Mike's got my email address if any of you are interested. And one last thing, I know you talked about sidewalks tonight in the replacement program. With Italia, if you want to look at the quality of the sidewalks, come and walk down Sandringham and look at the sidewalks. They're pitting, and the pitting started right after they were poured. And now they're spalling. It's just incredible. So if you want to award them more business, you should make sure they do it differently than what they did previously.
Thank you, Tim. Yeah, I'll make a time to come over with Wayne, and I know these are all maintenance issues that we'll make sure we take care of and find out, because of the cracking, we got to figure that out. And I know you had sent me some damage to the asphalt we want to come take a look at. And I don't know how long this weather's going to hold out, but we'll get it in here.
Well, Mike, isn't there a certain amount of warranty?
It's all warranty.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is.
It's all warranty.
It should all
but-
be warranty.
Yeah, but they're not getting the answers they expect,
Right.
and I can
Two
hear it.
different issues, but
Yeah.
yes.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, gentlemen. All right, close public comment, if there's no further, okay, and move to consent agenda. Anybody want a motion to approve the consent agenda, or take anything off or on?
Just the payroll and vouchers.
Payroll and vouchers, Mark? Okay, thank you. We'll move that to
I
10C.
make a move that we approve the consent agenda.
Okay,
Support.
support.
With C
the-
With C removed, we'll move that to 10C. Okay. And support? All in
Yes.
favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, it passes 7-0. Thank you. Item number 3, update concerning small cell wireless open house and township efforts to improve cellular services provided to the residents, presented by Sean Mueller, our clerk associate. Welcome, Sean.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Hannah. All right, well, good evening, board members. I want to first thank Supervisor McCready and Clerk Brooke for allowing me to present to you on this small cell wireless open house and the recap and next events. This actually does fall under the strategic plan for the township under priority 4, which is reliable infrastructure. So quick, for those that don't know, what is a small cell? A small cell is basically a low-powered radio cellular access point. or base station that provides wireless services within a limited geographical area. And the infrastructure enhances the network coverage and capacity through data input, where micro tower reception can be blocked either by hills, valleys, trees, and buildings. So the purpose of the small cell wireless open house was, again, as I outlined, part of our strategic plan for reliable infrastructure, but also it was designed to promote transparency and collaboration between the residents, the township, and cellular providers. And of course, the objectives are listed down there as well, of addressing where cell access is weak or non-existent, and identifying, working with those telecommunication companies and utility companies to make sure that the process is smooth to get those small cell devices up there. This map here was done by our GIS specialist with the help of our police and fire department, identifying the areas where there's weak to no cell service. The blue areas show no cell service, while the grays show weak cell service. And this is just an estimate from our fire and police. I'm sure there's plenty more from what we've heard from residents, myself included, that there's a lot of areas in the township that are dead zones or have are struggling with access. So quickly, the overall thing that started this was going from a passive to a proactive approach on the township's part. Historically, we've been reactive of just passive of when applicants come in, we process it, and we approve the applications or deny them. We're starting to go towards a different direction the best we can as a municipal government, shifting towards the proactive strategy of identifying the coverage gaps, collaborating with the providers early, explaining to them the outline of the permit processing and what they need to get ready, and the timeline too, because small cell is a very time-sensitive kind of permit where it needs to be responded to so many days and approved in so many days. And then just working towards also on our end to clear up policies or get rid of certain things that are not necessarily important or that are kind of redundant. So a couple weeks ago, we had a small cell wireless open house here, February 25th, where we had wireless providers invited, which was AT&T, Verizon, and unfortunately T-Mobile was not able to attend. But then we also had the utility partner of DTE Energy, as they own most of the standing poles within the township right-of-ways. And then, of course, we had the township participants, the Small Cell Wireless Committee, department heads, elected officials, and, of course, the residents and community stakeholders. So the topics we discussed was, the bottom line, where coverage was needed. With the map I showed you earlier, we had that map displayed out in the back in larger print to show where they identified those areas, and a lot of residents were like, yep, my house is right there, or no, my house is not there. And they talked to us about, like, hey, this area too is no coverage, or this area is really weak. Infrastructure opportunities, we discussed utility pole access more for the providers and the utility pole companies, of like what goes into putting in the new utility poles or replacing them if they need to support the small cell, and coordinating with them on the permit process and what the steps are, so that way when the applicants submit the right-of-ways, they have the correct pole in the right-of-way. So the big takeaways that we have from the wireless providers was predictability matters, so a clear application and expectation. So we provided them the application, and of course they've talked to myself multiple times, and it's also listed on the application of like the checklist that they need before they submit their applications. The height flexibility, they understand their main thing when they talk to us is the higher the pole, the wider the coverage. Right now, small cell wireless facilities range from 400 to 500 feet. That's if there are no trees or anything obstructing its view. If there is, then that coverage goes down a lot less. And then, again, early collaboration. Like having this open house really was an eye-opener for them as well as for us of where areas we need to address, and also to know the process more internally and exactly what we need to fulfill the permit requirements. And these quotes, I'm not going to go through them all, but these are some quotes that were taken from residents, wireless providers, township officials, and utility representatives. Basically all positive. A resident gave a great idea about having maybe on our website like the maps showing that, and when new poles come up, where they are located in terms of where there's weak or no cell service at all, and kind of keeping that up to date. Wireless providers were happy because they kept saying, this is the first we've ever been to of an open house where we got to be all in a room together and talk about the concerns and understand the process and what the community needs. So since that, we've had 15 small cell wireless permits come in total, at, like literally the day after the event. All of them were from Verizon. They did have those in the workings beforehand, but coming to the open house afterwards, they were like, okay, we know we need to get these in as soon as possible. 5 of them were on utility pole, like new utility pole installations or replacement, and others are co-locating on existing DTE poles. And then the applicants that we have already either current or in the works are with the big 3, Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile. And of course, the deployment areas of where we'd like to have them, major roadways, residential and commercial areas. This map here, it's a little hard to see, I do apologize. This shows right now the dots area are currently the current small cell wireless facilities that are up and running in the township. And the circle outline is like the 500-foot gap. Before the open house, AT&T has put in a lot of applications, and those are where the blue are right now. So they're mostly they told us that they were starting to work west of Telegraph and move forward. Now that they've seen where the major gaps are, they are definitely going to be moving eastwards towards Telegraph. And then after the open house, Verizon submitted their permits, which then addressed a lot more areas, specifically in the village. And there's a map side-by-side comparison of where proposed small cell wirelesses are going to go and to where the coverage is that they need. And again, from us on a policy perspective, again, flexibility, streamlining the process, working with the applicants to make sure that everything's in order and being able to approve it in a timely fashion while also maintaining to make sure that the poles and the facilities themselves are not an eyesore or disruptive to the environment of the township. And quickly, like our short-term goals, again, are to review the applications as normal, keep them coming through, and deploying them in appropriate time manner. Our medium-term goal is to encourage providers to look at our maps to see where the cell coverage is needed, and then coordinating with the utility companies about replacing new poles, because it does require a different permit for the right-of-way, so that way they don't hit any water or sewer mains or any other utilities we may have in that way. And then, of course, the long term is to continue the engagement with the community. We're already talking about possibly next year doing another small cell wireless open house to kind of do an update on see where we are, where we need to be, and anything new coming down the works. And again, like I mentioned before, this is a broader theme of it outlines the township's strategic plan of identifying the infrastructure goals. So, any questions?
Thank you, Sean. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, sorry, Neil.
Well, the only thing I want to say is to thank you, Sean, for all the work you've done on this project. So leading a whole team of people to, prepare for this small cell event, to invite all of the participants, to handle and assist with communications, to be one of the leaders of the small cell meeting and lead the discussion, and then help prepare us for this. And of course, Sean knows everything about it because Sean receives the permit applications that comes in and makes sure that all of us on the small cell wireless team are meeting with the deadlines for compliance and processing it along. So Sean has the big picture covered and also the details too. So thanks so much for all your work.
Thank you.
And I was just gonna say, thank you. It was a great presentation. Thank you for participating in the open house. I think it's a great idea. Encourage you to do it again next year. It's certainly something we all hear a lot of complaints about, are the lack of coverage in so many areas. Pleased to hear that they're moving Telegraph west. They're looking into that. I hear a lot of complaints, and you probably have, and just confirming, south of Maple up into like the cider mill and then going west of Franklin Road. If there are any permits in that area to increase the coverage?
Yep, I believe on that map there, AT&T had a bunch down there, but then there's one from T-Mobile that's near that area. But again, we showed on the other map of little to no cell service. That's definitely a high priority area.
And you know if Verizon is looking to increase their coverage there?
Possibly. I don't know what's coming down the work. They're wanting to push so many permits in, and we have so little people to help it along with the process. We're trying to keep up with the demand. Yeah, but absolutely.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So, yeah, each of the providers, by the way, too, just adding a little bit to the great detail Sean already provided, did indicate at the small cell wireless meeting that, well, we have a plan. Like, well, and we've asked for plans, we asked for what's the coverage, we just didn't get a lot of that feedback. But when they came, they didn't just bring a salesperson or whatever, but AT&T had people who flew in from Chicago. And then had their main scientist dude from Southfield who said, your specific issue. AT&T in that area down at 14 Mile and Franklin has relied on a legacy infrastructure provider that's not AT&T, and it's a problem. They know it's a problem, but they have to exit that situation before they can build out more infrastructure. In the interim, they are putting in these small cell wireless facilities, but yeah, so it was really great to see who came to this meeting, and like for instance, all the providers have to work with DTE to put things on the poles, but the DTE guy that runs that program had never met any of the providers that were here, and this was his first chance to ever do that and talk to each other right where we're sitting there about what they both kind of need to make things happen. It was really an interesting event, and
It's a great event.
Yeah, thank you,
Very
Sean.
productive to have that
yeah,
done.
thanks.
Any other comments or questions? Okay, and Sean, you did a great job, and
Thank you.
I have to say, the providers that were here said that it's the first meeting they've ever been to where it was very productive, they weren't getting screamed at.
No, yeah. At first we thought it was going to be that, but nope. Everyone was understanding, and they got a lot of their questions answered.
And the results came in when all of a sudden these applications came in, and when you live in the village, Tim and Craig, hopefully this will help a lot. Keep our fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. Thank you, Sean.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks, Sean.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, item number 4, consider a resolution expressing township's opposition to zoning preemption bills in state legislature presented by Andrea Bibby. Andrea is out today, so I'll take this. There was a series of 5 bills, Michael, you can help me with this also, that really interfere with our zoning ordinance. Wouldn't you say, Michael?
Preempted.
Preempted, yeah, exactly.
Preempted.
Yeah.
And so right now, they're on hold for a little while, but it was good if we did a resolution letting them know we oppose the state taking over our zoning ordinances. What they're trying to do is make more affordable housing, which I commend them to do, but to take, let's say, our property and completely change what our ordinance read for square footage. What are we at, like 25,000?
We're depending on the zone, it's either 16, 20, or 22,000.
Right. And they want to take it to
1,500.
1,500. So you take an acre and divide that up, and they'd sell it off. And then you can also change homes from single residential to duplex, and they take over the parking requirements too.
And mobile homes.
And
mobile home
Right,
as well.
all of the above.
Right, which I commend them for what they're trying to do, but I don't think it doesn't fit for every community, and we're one of those. So I'd like to have us pass a resolution that we'll send to Lansing opposing these bills, as many other communities have. Any other comments or questions?
No, I'm in total agreement, and we don't need the state preempting our local zoning laws. We understand what our residents want. We don't need people in Lansing telling us what to do.
I support.
I agree with everything that Trustee Barnett says.
Okay,
I would like to make a motion to approve the sending of the letter.
great, Mark, thank you. And
Support.
support? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes 7-0, thank you. Okay, item number 5, presentation of 2025 construction project recap, presented by Greg Turner, Deputy Director of Engineering and Environmental Services. Welcome, Greg.
Hey, good evening, everybody. Hey, tonight I will provide a few different things for you. One, a summary of the 2025 construction season. Thank you. A walkthrough of each project, look at the financial roll-up, preview the 2026 season, and finally, a chance to wrap up some questions. Okay. We'll start with a summary of the 2025 construction season by program. So you see, of course, we have water, sanitary, sewer, storm, sewer, and safety path projects. And the numbers shown here are for construction only. And these are the individual projects that we'll walk through one by one on the following slides. We'll start with South Bloomfield Highlands water main installation. That project consisted of construction of a water distribution system, connection to the township's existing system, and abandonment of the existing distribution and well systems. It included over 14,000 linear feet, or about 2 3/4 miles of 8-inch diameter water main, as well as gate valves, hydrants, stop boxes, and service lines up to the property line. This project was substantially completed ahead of schedule and within 2% of our approved construction budget. And all that remains is the completion of a punch list items in the weeks ahead. We actually did a punch list walkthrough today with the general contractor's project manager. Beyond being just a success construction-wise, it was also a success communications-wise, as a good news story is that 100% of residents were hooked up to the new water system by mid-November this past year. Next, we'll look at Vernor Estates water main replacement, which was a much different project in that instead of constructing a system, we were instead replacing existing water main, approximately 13,600 feet, or just over 2.5 miles of water main. You see, we actually used 3 different techniques to do that, as well as, again, replacing gate valves, hydrants, stop boxes, and service lines. In addition to just replacing it with newer water main, we also upgraded or upsized much of the system from either 8-inch diameter to 12-inch or 6 inches to 8-inch. This project will be completed within budget and well ahead of schedule in the spring of 2026 with landscape restoration, minor pavement, and punch list items remaining. A key point here is that accelerating this project, which was originally planned to be over 2 construction seasons, so all the water main work was completed by end of 2025, and resulted in about $25,000 of savings for the township, but more importantly, it greatly reduced the impact to the community, particularly in the staging areas on both Long Lake Road and Oakley Drive. Okay. Well, moving on to our stormwater infrastructure, we have 2 different projects under stormwater. The first is stormwater sewer system rehab, which is in phase 1 right now, and that consisted of cleaning and televising approximately 5,000 feet or 1 mile of pipe, lining approximately 2,600 feet or half a mile of pipe, and then replacing just 36 feet of pipe, cleaning 131 structures and replacing 55 structures outright. This project was completed well under budget, but significantly behind schedule. You can see from the construction timeline, we had a plan to finish in March, which would be in the previous fiscal year and actually spanned into the new fiscal year and was wrapped up in June. The second stormwater project was for detention basins, also phase 1. It consisted of dredging to increase capacity at 2 of our basins and invasive species treatment and removal at all 5 of the basins that were included in this phase of the project. This project was also completed well under the awarded amount, but in this case, only slightly behind schedule. Switching to our safety paths, first up is a project which was actually started in 2024, but we included it here because it went into 2025 for completion, and that is the Telegraph Road Safety Path, which included the grading installation of approximately 3,000 feet or roughly half a mile of 5-foot wide concrete safety paths connecting the west side of Telegraph Road to the Clinton River Trail. And this, of course, included traffic control, tree and vegetation removal, which was substantial, landscaping, and restoration. Overall, this project was completed on time, but cost increased approximately 12.5% due to scope changes, and that was primarily in increased amount of tree and vegetation removal. Next was another new safety path, in this case on Maple Road, included the grading installation of approximately 3,000 linear feet of, again, 5-foot wide concrete safety path along the north side of Maple Road between Franklin Road and Surrey Crossing, again, including traffic control, tree and vegetation removal, and landscaping restoration. This project happily was completed on time and within budget. Moving in more to the maintenance side of it, so instead of installing new path, we're talking about the safety path repair program. This 2025 projects include the removal and replacement of approximately 18,000 square feet of both 5 and 6 foot wide concrete safety path at 190 different locations throughout the township. Again, this project was completed on time and within budget. And another note on this, this was the final year of our contract with the general contractor, Talia, but a proposal to approve an extension of this was included and passed in the consent agenda. Next part of our maintenance program includes the retaining wall repairs. And in this case, we repaired retaining walls as well as fencing and adjacent safety path at 11 different locations within the township. In total, approximately 5,700 square feet of safety path, and over 3,000 square feet of retaining walls, and over 1,000 linear feet of fencing repaired. Again, this project was completed within budget, but significantly behind schedule. The final project I have to review with you tonight is our 2025 ADA compliance program, and this replaced existing ramps and landings with Americans with Disability Act compliant ramps and landings at 45 locations along Hickory Grove, Losser, Long Lake, Corton, Square Lake, and Wing Lake roads. The project was completed well ahead of schedule and within 5% of the awarded amount.
Nice.
Okay, now that we've wrapped through all the projects, we're going to do a quick financial summary of that. So here we have broken down at the higher program level, our total amount awarded, and then the projected, which includes some of the money we have yet to execute on the projects. One important note is that we talked earlier about the water and sewer rates during the study session. The capital investment program numbers include the South Bloomfield Highlands project, which was funded via NSAD. Shifting gears, here's a preview of what we have scheduled for 2026. Make a couple comments on these projects, and then we'll do a summary of 2026 so you can see it from the 1,000-foot view. Notable here is West Maple Road. It's one of those more major water main projects, and because of that, it's going to be more expensive, and we have it planned to execute over 2 construction seasons. And then the last project you see under capital improvement, Red Maple Lane, the cost you see there is the township's portion of a cost-shared project, which will share costs with the road commission. Okay. And here is a roll-up of the same information, but summarized for you by program. Again, I'll note that these are just construction costs only, so don't include our engineering costs or any design projects are not included in this. Okay. I'll offer my boss a chance to make any remarks he might want to make.
Yeah, thank you, Board. Just real quick, we've invited HRC to attend. We just want to recognize the hard work that they do and the great work that they do for the township. So much so that the South Bloomfield Highlands project that was completed or close to be completed, the township did receive an award through the APWA The local chapter has awarded the township with quality of life improvements under $5 million. So we're excited and grateful to HRC, our work with the DPW, assessing, and certainly the Engineering and Environmental Services Department all had a hand in this project. And I might also commend Michael Schostak and his role in trying to procure funding for a lot of the residents in need for this SAD. So thank you very much, Board. We're open the floor to any questions you might have.
Thank you. Nice presentation, and appreciate all your efforts. Any comments or questions?
No, I'm glad that South Bloomfield Highlands went so well and was completed. I'm sure the residents are very happy with
Yep.
the progress.
Okay.
All right, thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you. All right, item number 6. Consider authorizing refunds of Special Assessment District 425, presented by our treasurer, Michael Schostak. Michael.
Thank you. I always enjoy coming to the board with good news.
Very good news.
Yes, so, the way these SADs work, we create an estimate of what the project is gonna cost. That includes construction, engineering, administration, and financing. And that estimate is what the assessment is based on when we approve the SAD. So, in a few weeks, we're gonna be approving the Vernor Estates SAD and potentially the Village Green SAD. And we're gonna have an estimate that we use to calculate that assessment. And so at the end of the project, we do an accounting to see what we actually spent. And sometimes it takes a little bit longer than others. So the Kirkway project was actually done in '23 and finished in 2024. It took a while for the road commission to get their accounting done, so they've got to work with their general contractor to get their accounting done. Then they got to do their accounting, and then they pass it to us, and we do our accounting. So it is a process, but we look at what the actual costs were on the construction, the engineering, financing, legal, and anything that is above, anything that we collected in terms of assessments, above what we needed, we return to the residents. This is their money that they put up for the SAD. The township is not making a profit, does not, it's not, that is not our intention. Our intention is to coordinate these projects on behalf of the residents. And so at the end of the project, we do a accounting and see where we're at. So specifically to SAD 425, which is the Kirkway area project, the original budget was a little over $4 million, and that's what the assessments were based on. And I thought I put the number of residents in here. I guess I didn't. You take that estimate of $4 million, divide it up by the number of units of benefit, which in most cases is a single property. In this particular case, we had some half unit of benefits based on the way they accessed Kirkway Road. But that was a unique circumstance. But anyway, so that was the estimate. The actual cost came in at just under $3.5 million. And so our net surplus savings or amount that we can refund is a little over $533,000 for the residents. And so at the last meeting, February 23rd, we approved the new SAD policy. And as part of that policy, we created a mechanism as to how we handle these refunds. And so now that that policy has been approved, I'm bringing forward these authorizations or these requests for authorizations for the refunds. So for Kirkway, it's a total refund of $533,000, $172.68. That works out to $4,518.41 for a full unit of benefit, or $2,259.20 for a half unit of benefit. And the way the refund is going to work is anybody who has completely paid their assessment in full will receive a check for the refund, for whatever, whether it's a full unit or a half unit, for whatever they're owed. For anybody that did not pay their assessment in full, and is currently paying it off in annual installments for over 15 years. The refund will be applied to the assessments going forward until that refund is all consumed. So I put in here that the refund of $4,518 for a full unit of benefit will cover all of the 2026 installment, which will be $3,600, and $913 will be carried over to the 2027 assessment. So they will pay a little bit less than the full assessment in 2027. So that is we went through some study with our attorneys to make sure that we're doing everything legally, and this is the way we have to do it. So again, I'm requesting that the board authorize me to issue refunds to the residents of SAD 425, $4,518.41 for a full unit of benefit, $2,259.20 for a half unit of benefit. And I'm happy to take any questions.
That's good news, Michael.
Yeah, no question. This is just a great thing. I'm glad these projects are very expensive. So anytime we can give that money back to them under budget, making sure we do it right, but save the money, this is a great thing. So thank you for bringing this to us.
I would like to thank Michael for the detailed report and analysis. It's greatly appreciated.
Sure.
Thank you, Michael. It's always great to give money back, and a nice overview of everything. I'd like to make a motion that we approve.
Some more.
Support.
Support, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passed 7-0. Thank you. Michael, back to you.
Okay.
District 426.
Okay, so for 426, which is the Village Blue section, and I just want to, I'd be remiss if I didn't give a shout out to our assessing team, Darren Kratz, our assessor, and Jen Worthman, our deputy assessor, who along with Mark Mesler, who's our project manager, really stay on top of these projects while they're being constructed. They go to weekly meetings with the contractors, make sure that things are being addressed, that we get what we pay for and we don't pay for what we don't get. So I do want to give them that recognition. So for the Village Blue, there are no half unit of benefits here, so this is easy. The original assessment was $42,270 based on a budget of a little over $8 million. The actual cost that we spent was $6.3 million, which results in a $1.7 million savings or surplus. So based on that amount, the refund per property owner is $8,971.01. And again, anybody who paid off their assessment in full will receive a check for that amount. Anybody who is currently paying in installments, their 2026 and their 2027 installments will be covered by this, and they will have $81 carried forward towards their 28 assessment installment.
Nice, Michael. Great news. Any comments?
I'll make a motion, we approve.
Support.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Item number 8. Michael, back to you.
Yeah, so
District
last one here,
427.
last one, and to answer the gentleman's question from public comment, the yellow and gold sections are still in construction because there's still repair work and restoration work that's going to need to happen this spring. So once the project completes this spring and it's fully, all the punch list is done, then the contractor does their analysis and accounting, then it goes to the road commission for their analysis and accounting, and then it comes to us. So I would expect probably about the same time next year, hopefully a little bit sooner, we're going to have the final accountings for 428 and 429, which are yellow and gold. But SAD 427 is the red section, which somehow morphed into becoming the pink section. It was originally an assessment of $48,161 on a budget of $10.7 million. The actual amount spent was a little over $8 million, so that's a $2.55 million surplus. Requesting that the board authorize refunds in the amount of $11,487.05 per unit of benefit. And likewise with the previous SAD, those that are paying in installments will have both their 26 and their 2027 installments covered by this refund, and they will carry forward $1,358 to the 2028 installment. So.
That's
This is-
awesome.
This is
That's
a great, this is a great thing, and, you know, it was certainly controversial to get these passed, but, you know, we, as in the board, promised that we were gonna watch these projects like a hawk and make sure that the residents' money was spent wisely and not unnecessarily. So here we are again, we're not profiting, we're just returning the money to the residents.
Yeah, this subdivision was a little more complicated than some. It had been postponed longer, so the cost was higher. I remember when these came by us, and I was startled how high they were. So the fact that we came in under budget, I'd like to make a motion that we approve these refunds.
Support.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, passes 7-0.
Great, thank you.
All right, item number 9, discuss the proposed interlocal agreement to provide fire services to the village of Bingham Farm, presented by our chief, John LeRoy. Welcome, chief.
Good evening. Thank you for having me. This one's a little bit different. The Village of Bingham Farms has inquired from Bloomfield Township whether it would be interested in providing fire protection services for them. And this is just a discussion with trying to break down over the last several weeks their fire services, their community, things like that, to try to inform the board as to whether I felt that Bloomfield Township could even take this on. So with that, just a brief overview of the Village of Bingham Farms is it's only 1.25 square miles with 1,100 residents, 506 homes, and a narrow strip of commercial property. That red area is the 12.5-mile commercial district right down there. There's a 5-story commercial building, office building, restaurant, strip mall out front. And then the purple zone is some light, like doctor's offices, light commercial area up through about 13.5 miles. Bingham Farms, over the last several years, they've been serviced by the Franklin Bingham Fire Department. It's a joint venture between the two communities. So in breaking down their numbers over the last 4 years, trying to get through their data, 267 calls in 2011. That was the COVID year, so that was kind of a throwout year, just as you'll see later on with our incidents were down during that time as well. To 305 to 279. The 284 calls was 1 month short of, they had a software changeover, so I didn't have a full capture of the data, but it extrapolated out to roughly about 315 calls, just like the 314 in 2025. Very similar, pretty across the board. It averages out to right around 300 calls a year on average. They're just like Bloomfield Township. This is a breakdown of the calls that they went on. They had 173 medicals, 32 injury accidents. That's primarily that telegraph, the 2 intersections, the 13-mile and the 14-mile, just south of 14 Mile. And miscellaneous, I mean, very few fires, fire alarms, very similar to our demographics and our types of calls that we go on. As you can see, our incident trend over the last, since really 2011, we saw that continuous climb up until about 2017. But really since 2017, removing that COVID year in 2020, 2021, we've plateaued. We've maintained this, roughly the same number of calls, and you can really attribute those calls plus or minus to either storms or weather-related types of incidents across the board. 1 year we have a driver, some storms in the summer, ice storms, winter storm weather. You'll see like driving accidents and things like that. But we've plateaued across for the last really 7 years with no significant changes. So as for our operational capacity, currently we have 20 firefighters, paramedics per shift. We are currently fully staffed minus some injuries and things like that, but all positions are filled at this time. Where we're a little bit different than most communities is our response model all of our apparatus are licensed ALS vehicles. And when I say licensed ALS, I mean, no matter what apparatus shows up first, it has the ability to provide the same level of care, whether it's an ambulance or a fire engine. All the personnel are paramedics, and really, we went through that where we couldn't hire paramedics. We've been now, with our new contract, we have several candidates that are paramedics, and we only have one outstanding basic EMT who will be testing in the next couple weeks. So we will have a fully staffed paramedic fire department again, which is it's a big deal, and then it allows us to perform this model a whole lot better. If the board were to decide to pursue this, it would add an estimated 300 calls a year, and that would still take us to our previous statistical highs. It'd be right in line with where we were previously at the high of the 6,400 calls a year that we had roughly 4 or 5 years ago. In order to shift some of this capacity around, currently, Rescue 3 handles all the medical incidents and primarily backs up Ladder 1 to the sections south of Long Lake Road in Central's area when Rescue 1 is not in service. In that area south of that red dotted line, there were 498 incidents that occurred last year where Rescue 3 would have been called to potentially respond in conjunction with Station 1, depending on which units were in service or on calls or things like that. There's a tremendous amount of variables that go into that, but there were 498 confirmed incidents in that affected area. So if we were to pursue this, in order to shift some of the things around, is to try to not overburden certain units, primarily Rescue 3, I would, and as a result of doing this study and breakdown of the calls, I may do this anyways, I might move the response line to Lone Pine and shift some of those capacities to Rescue 1, then Rescue 4, then Rescue 3 to alleviate that, and then shift those resources farther to the south, down into Rescue 3's response area into Bingham Farms. Station 3 would be primarily handling that unless they were already on an existing call. And that would have a direct impact on 257 calls right off the top. Agreements like this, they're not new to the fire service. Many of our neighbors currently have very similar agreements. West Bloomfield services Kego, Harbor, Orchard Lake, and Sylvan Lake. Southfield services Lathrop Village. Waterford has the city of Pontiac, which is a little bit different, but the Lake Angeles community and Independence Township takes the village of Clarkston. So as part of this, I broke down what this is all hypotheticals. In conjunction with our finance department, we have tried to figure out what our residents pay for the service, so it wouldn't be a flat fee per se where somebody's not paying more or less than our residents. It would be what our residents pay, and this is what these numbers are based off of. We figured out that in conjunction with the finance department, between the 3 public safety millages and the supplemental into from the general fund, that it's roughly 3.6225 mils. And then all of these numbers are based off of those projections. So in the first year, it was roughly 800, I provided in your board packet the math for their taxable value, providing those mills across the board, and then figured in a 5% escalator, so year over year would automatically go up, and that's what it looks like. It starts at roughly 827,000 and ends up over almost 1.3 million. So the potential just off of the contract would be, if over a 10-year period, would be 10.37, with an estimated $50,000 a year in transporting revenue, for a total of $10.8 million, plus or minus. Doing variables and trying to figure out averages and things like that. And I feel that we could do this, if the board chose, with no additional cost to the township. It's roughly 0.88 incidents per day. It's not plus the way that we operate and sharing the stationaries and response districts, it wouldn't be overburdening our current responses. And if there's no, at this point, no personnel costs or equipment that we would need to purchase to do it. We would be covering that area from Station 3. But like I said, these are all hypotheticals, and I'm just looking for a little bit of guidance if we're interested in this, or and field any questions that you may have. And then the next steps would be, I mean, obviously, we would want to hear what the residents would have to say about it, exploring any contracts, implementation, and agreements would be all into the future. But I'd be happy to take any questions that you have or try to walk through it with you, because this is a new starting point for me as well.
Okay, thank you, Chief. And just to clarify, you're talking about it's just under one call a day is
Correct.
what you're figuring, right?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Neil?
So with under one call a day, the expectation, I'm assuming, will not impact response time for your overall service?
Correct. It's all about averages. Just like, and on any given day, our current services could be overwhelmed. On any given day, we might not have any calls. But the averages over the course of the year represent 300 to 320 calls a year. It's less than a call a day.
And putting the office buildings aside, the residential part of Bingham Farms is really like a large subdivision for Bloomfield Township.
Correct.
One other item just to consider, I spoke to Mike about this, that at one time previously, the property on Telegraph 14 Mile Road was considered for senior apartments or independent living, and I'm pleased to see that's going to be, the proposal now is residential condos. Hypothetically, if one of the office buildings on Telegraph was converted or demolished and converted to independent living, and you had more density, like we have at, the old Sunrise facilities, how would that impact your analysis?
For every facility, for an assisted living type facility, it would be 1.2 calls per bed per year. For a nursing home type facility, it would be over 2 calls per bed per year. We've been keeping track of that over many years here. Mm-hmm. With that, if there was a facility like that put in, hypothetically, I would say we would want to protect ourselves, because it's, as currently, everything that I have looked at is from today or last year. And if they were to add a huge driver of services into that, I think we would want to have some sort of ability to change the fee structure or whatever route to take.
Well, that's where I was going. In case that were to happen, or just hypothetically that we have in our contract, Tony, it's just some kind of potential escalator clause to account for that.
Sure, that seems perfectly reasonable.
Okay, thank you.
Well, Chief, thank you for bringing this to us. When I first heard about it, I wasn't sure how I felt, so I did a little studying on the packet and everything. But, I'm a huge supporter of the fire department. You guys rescued me last year. I know we have the best services. I understand why they would come to us and ask for our support. As Neil said, I don't want to overstress ours, but it sounds like you have taken quite a thorough look, and then moving that line, because in Station 3 is my station, so I've got to take care of my station, but, and all the residents. We don't want to jeopardize service in any way, but I guess in terms of cost, the only extra cost that I can think of is that we would have added fuel. I don't know how the water, because the community pays for that water or whatever, wear and tear on our vehicles, that sort of thing for the extra calls. But there is substantial revenue that would come in to the township, so that it's not a net
The
cost.
one question I can't answer about that, the water, the Village of Bingham Farms has their own water system. So it's separate from ours, and it's a hydrogen watered area. So we wouldn't have any expenses there.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So I just want to say, you guys are like the pride of the township. I mean, the fire department is just so amazing in the services you provide, and you've saved the life of actually more than just one trustee here, and so many others because of the quality of work you do, the skills, the training you have, and the training and the training and the training. And I heard you say, and I just want to make sure we're, clear. I mean, I would be happy to support this, but I want the fire department to provide services to Bloomfield Township, first and foremost. And if this can fit in without jeopardizing that, then this is wonderful. And what I'm hearing you say so far and answer to Neil, that the answer to that is yes, that the services can be provided within our current structure, and we'd see no diminution of the services that we so value here. And we'll extend it to Bingham Farms if this works out, which they'll benefit from greatly. I, however, do also want to highlight what Trustee Murray talked about, which is the cost. The 3.6225 mils, a nice calculation, that's really our operational costs. But of course, we built the fire department, we've staffed it with equipment, we've trained people, we, on occasion, put in significant resources to buy equipment. There will be wear and tear on that equipment, which we need to recoup on an ongoing basis. So I would suggest that the number's a little low, and we should be considering that kind of expense to also really cover our costs.
Okay,
Thanks a lot.
thank you.
So, a couple things. One, I think it's a testament to what we have here, as Clerk Brooke talked about. Bingham Farms came to us in this discussion to come talk to us about what our fire department is, learn about it, and see if we'd be even interested in doing it. I think that's a testament to what we have here and what we continue to build. There are other communities that they border, and they could go to those other communities, and they chose to go to Bloomfield Township to ask for services. So I think that's a testament to what your administration has done and what the board has continued to support for many years. I'm lucky enough to have been a part of the conversations from an early start with Bingham Farms. I think this is a great opportunity for us. There are a lot of expenses with public safety, whether it is that new fire station that we're going to be building down off of Maple, or fire trucks, or medical equipment. When you look at fire departments, they're very expensive. So this is a way for us to potentially get some revenue to help mitigate the expenses that our residents pay. So when we look at shared services, this is a way for us to mitigate tax increases to our residents so that we can invest in our infrastructure, whether it's Station 3, whether it's fire trucks, new facilities. There's a lot of expenses that we have, and this is a way for us to help mitigate it without having to put necessarily investment on our side into personnel or long-term costs. So when the fire chief said that he's going to look at analysis to see it operationally does it make sense, and when he gave me basically this is what I think I can do, and here's how I can mitigate those runs and the risk of the township and the residents, I think this is a win-win. Not only does it continue to ensure that we have adequate funding and continue to minimize our impact to our residents, but we can continue to supplement additional revenue for the fire department. Again, I think this is a great option, and I'm very excited about it.
Chief LeRoy, I want to thank you for the thoughtfulness that went into the changes that you're expecting. And what I went back and I took a look at the previous report that you did on volume in the different, and what I really liked about it is the consistency with what's happened in the past, the utilization rates in the different fire stations, and how you took that into account to come up with how to address the changes in volume. And it's clear that based on the resources available at Fire Station 1, that the additional volume that Fire Station 1 could support is significantly more than what's coming on board. And I think from a volume perspective, we'd be fine. I think that Neil's concern regarding additional nursing home facilities or seniors is a valid concern, but I still think that the capacity in Fire Station 1 is there to meet those requirements. And again, thank you for keeping that consistency with the volume that we've seen in the past. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
I'll just throw out there that I'm generally a fan of consolidation of services. I think that there's too much local government services, especially in smaller communities. The fact that Bingham had their own fire and they have their own police is, maybe not an efficient way to do things. So in general, I'm a fan of consolidation, and I think that that's the way we're going to be going is, we all hear right now about the threats to property taxes from various people in office and people running for office, and they want to get rid of property taxes, and they want to cut property taxes, and, so I think it's going to force a lot of municipalities to rethink how they deliver those services, and so I think we're going to see things like this happening a lot more, so I appreciate that. Hopefully you've gotten some good feedback. I agree with several of my colleagues on the points that they made, but, generally I'm supportive.
Okay, thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
We'll figure out a path forward.
All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Tony, do we need to approve anything for Chief
No,
LeRoy to
it
keep
was
moving?
just a discussion, and
Okay.
we'll figure a path forward.
Okay.
Yeah, probably need to have a public hearing or two, let the
Okay.
residents speak out.
Thank you, John.
All right,
Thanks,
Okay.
John.
Thanks, Sean. Okay. Item number 10, consider expanding and new appointments of Financial Sustainability Committee. Michael?
Yeah, so this will be a quick one, hopefully. We've talked in the past and again at our joint study session back in early February about expanding the Financial Sustainability Committee. And so what I've proposed here is two things. One is a resolution to expand the FSC by adding 2 more members of the public, so we can get some additional opinions and input into our financial planning and investment investing. So I would look for approval of the resolution to add those 2 public members to the FSC. And if that resolution were to pass, I'm recommending that we appoint Joshua Rossman and Brian Masson. You see their biographies there in the memo. These guys are, really impressive in terms of their experience, things that they've done, and I think that they would be great members and complementary skills and experiences to the FSC. David Petoskey is an investment advisor, David Olson was a former corporate treasurer, and Raina is a accountant that specializes in municipal accounting. So adding guys who come from more of a business business world and efficiency solutions, as Brian's accounting efficiency especially, I think that they can really provide some valuable input to us. So my ask is to approve the resolution to expand the committee and to appoint these 2 members.
And I think it's a great idea, Michael, and I've had the opportunity to spend a considerable amount of time with Josh, and he's very impressive. His background, I think, offers a great deal to the Financial Sustainability Committee, and of course, at the same time, to the residents. So I think it's a very good idea. It'll be a valuable addition, having both of those gentlemen on the board, on the Financial Sustainability Committee. Unless there's other comments, I just make a motion that we approve your resolution.
I've got one question for Michael regarding item number 6. The board approved increases for the trustees. The $250 right now is a $75 variance. Do we need to put in something that that variance will stay?
Well, that's a different subject, Mark.
well, no,
Okay,
so-
we gotta, let's.
Well, no, I think your question is about the 250. This is for the public members,
Correct.
not the trustees.
So as the trustees go up, I
Yeah.
think it's reasonable to also increase the community members as well.
Okay.
I would like to keep that variance the same.
Okay.
We've already approved an increase for the final year, and how are we going to address
So
that?
I think that's fair. I believe that Andrea is going to come back to the board at some point
With a suggestion.
with a suggestion for the planning commission and the zoning board of appeals. And so at that point, I think it would be fair, we could talk about, do we want them all to be the same across those boards?
Okay.
If for public members. Currently, they are not. The ZBA makes more than the planning commission.
Okay.
And so Andrea's doing some research and she's going to come back. So I think we set it at 250 now, and then based on where we go with those, then we can revisit
Okay.
a quick change for this.
As long as that's, thanks for the
Yeah.
explanation, I appreciate that.
Yep.
Okay, is there support for the motion?
Support.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Pass 7-0. Okay, thank you, Michael. Item 10C.
No, we've got to approve the appointments.
And make a motion that we approve the appointments of the gentlemen who have been presented to us.
Support.
Support, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes 7-0. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, item 10C from the payroll and vouchers, Mark.
My standard objection stands. I would like to really understand how obligations are met until taxes come in, especially the explanation from Mr. Schostak, Treasurer Schostak regarding fund balances and fund accounting. And I really don't understand how those obligations for public safety are met through December, so.
Okay, thank you.
Well, I just, one comment, but we've already collected all the taxes now, and so we're making these payments, so there shouldn't be any question about us having the money now.
No, there's not about the question about having the money now, but how it's covered
Okay.
until we collect the money.
Okay.
So,
Okay. I mean, we have collected the money, right? Tax season's over.
correct.
So,
Correct.
yeah.
Okay, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Support? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
6-1, thank you. Okay, I'd like to move into, consider entering into the closed session under MCL 15.268 to consider material exempt from discussion or disclosure by the state and federal.
So
as well.
moved.
Thank you, as well as item number 12, consider subsequent action in the closed section.
Yeah.
Roll
So
call.
we're trustee Barnett,
Yes.
trustee Murray,
Yes.
clerk Brooke, I'm a yes, supervisor McCready.
Yes,
Treasurer Schostak.
Yes.
Trustee Kalinsky.
Yes.
Trustee Anton.
Yes.
okay, so we'll move into closed session, thank you. From closed session, and I believe we'll have a motion, Neil.
Yes, I move to approve the separation agreement as presented by the township attorney and authorize the township supervisor to execute the same on behalf of the township.
Support.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, passes 7-0. All right, also consider now the individual contracts, and do we have to go through each one?
We do.
All right.
So I move that we approve the employment contract for the police chief as recommended by council and presented, and authorize the clerk and supervisor to execute.
Support?
Support.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes 7-0. Go ahead.
I move we approve the employment contract for the fire chief as recommended by council and presented, and authorize the clerk and the supervisor to execute.
Support.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Passes 7-0. Martin?
I move that we approve the employment contract for the assistant fire chief as recommended by council with the revision of the pay grade and approve the supervisor and clerk to sign.
Support?
Support.
Wait.
Oh,
With the recommendation of the change in pay grade as recommended by council.
That's.
Yes,
that's
okay.
what I thought I
Good.
said, but-
Support? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes 7-0. Martin?
I move we approve the employment contract for the operations supervisor as recommended by council. and
operations
presented.
officer.
Operations Officer. Thank you.
Support.
And authorize the clerk and supervisor to execute.
Support.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Martin? Passes 7-0.
I move we approve the employment contract for the Director of Finance and Budget as recommended by council and presented, and authorize the clerk and supervisor to sign.
Support.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Passes 7-0. Martin?
I move to approve the employment contract for the Director of Human Resources as recommended by council and presented, and authorize the clerk and supervisor to sign the contract.
Support.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Passes 7-0. Okay, that's everyone, I believe?
It is.
Okay, and
That was 6?
that's 6, so
I make a motion
Director of
we
Finance,
adjourn.
Operations Officer, Assistant Fire Chief, and Police Chief.
thank you. Okay, good. Motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Taking over from